So what brings you to ThrillerFest this year?
An invitation, which I accepted a little while ago. Unfortunately, I can't stay as long as I would like.
Right, you're only here one day.
Yes, but I've already attended a class that I found very interesting.
Oh, nice. Which class?
That was about beginning your novel working from the middle. But
Oh, yeah.
I've read James Scott Bell before, and I would listen to anything he had to say.
Yeah. Now, I hear that you have a film series coming out?
No, we're hoping to.
Okay.
Television well, you know, you're there when you're there with that sort of thing. But my Pitt series has, I think I'm working on either the 32nd or 33rd book, so there'll be plenty to work with. It's set in late Victorian London. The first story's in 1881, and I'm up to 1899 now.
Oh, okay.
Because it does move in real time.
Oh, interesting.
And I also have another series about a detective set in mid-Victorian, just after the Crimean War, 1850s. And he is an unusual character in that he wakes up in what he takes to be the workhouse, and then he realizes it's a hospital because it's daylight and there are people in the other beds, and he has no idea who he is. When the staff tell him the police want to see you, he's frightened, and what have I done? And then only when they speak to him does he realize that he is a policeman and they know him and they do not like him. And he's given a very unpleasant case to solve at the same time as trying to solve who the so-and-so am I, because he doesn't know. He just knows that they know him, they know who his friends and enemies are, and he does not.
Ooh, that sounds very scary.
21, 22 in that series.
Oh, okay.
And then I have 5 books set in World War I, but that's a finite series because when the war ended. Although I could easily pick it up. I'm thinking of maybe going on into the 20s and the 30s with the same people, because it's such an exciting and interesting time.
It is.
A very dramatic turning point in history when World War II was absolutely inevitable because we didn't see it coming, and we should have. And it's a very frightening parallel in some ways to our own present times.
Yeah.
But then I always like to pick a present-day problem and put it back in history a little bit and look at it through the lens of, oh, we don't do that anymore. Oh, yes, we do. We tend to repeat our mistakes because human nature doesn't change.
Right,
It just has a slightly different outside appearance, that's all. Same people inside different clothes.
Is that something that you like to sort of illustrate in your books?
Yes, the fact that some problems are innate to human nature, and we will always struggle with certain moral and ethical issues, certain emotions, certain behavior. That's why a classic book remains a classic,
Right.
because it deals with the heart.
Yeah, no matter what, people can relate to it.
It would be wonderful to think that we'd solved all the problems they had in Victorian times, but I'm afraid we haven't.
Right.
We still have most of them.
Yeah. How much research do you have to do for some of your books?
Well, since I've done about 50 novels set in Victorian London and the surrounding areas, most of the general basics I know about clothes and customs and food, etc. But I try to put a different element of some sort into each story, so there's something else to research each time. But, you know, it gets very, very boring if it's just a rewrite of a previous story.
Right.
So, I mean, I can remember one, I can't even remember which one it was, I think it was, it doesn't matter, where I was researching industrial accidents, because unfortunately the cost of building at the moment is still such that we tend to take shortcuts, we use sometimes substandard materials, we use dangerous machinery, and we do not compensate workmen for injury, but you can't compensate somebody for losing an arm or a leg.
No, there's nothing that could...
Nothing that makes that up. And we've moved forward a little bit with workmen's compensation, but not completely. There are still, I mean, battles now over asbestos lung and various other things that can happen to people, and people who use substandard safety equipment or expect people to work too long when they're tired and clumsy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just one example of an issue that doesn't change so very much. Probably goes back to the building of the pyramids.
Right. That's true, because it's still happening today.
Still happening. Of course it is.
Yeah.
And that's just one example of the sort of things. Money lending is another one. We still have from the little woman at the corner who lend you £5 and want 10 back in repayment, right up to international venture capital. There's still mismanagement and misuse of financial, that's horribly, tragically pertinent just even today with the Greek situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
And lives are ruined.
Yeah.
It still happens.
Switching gears a little bit, if you could give any advice to yourself when you were first starting out writing, what would it be?
Read some of the really good books on plotting so that you get the structure right. I think it's the most difficult part of writing anything. Most of us have a feel for characters, for dialogue, for scenes and so forth, but plotting, you have to have everybody do something for a good, strong reason that the reader can understand, and you have to show that reason.
That's really good advice. Well, thanks so much for speaking with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.